Today in this video, I'm going to talk about changing world order and implications of the US dollar as the global reserve currency. The acronym BRICS, also known for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Recently, Elon Musk also tweeted that US policy has been too heavily handed, making countries want to ditch the dollar. And this is because excess government spending that forces other countries to absorb significant part of the inflation. And this is why Barron's reported that US stimulus following financial crisis started the currency war in the United States dollar, which is being traded less. Now it's true that other countries now competing against the US dollar, and this is the reason why you should pay attention to topics like this. BRICS, we all know that when it comes to countries trading the goods and services with each other, it helps to have one universal currency that is accepted around the world. And this currency should have been a predictable value, so those involved in the trade can be sure that they will get paid what they expect. Now currently the US dollar is the global reserve currency, and this gives US the great advantage because more countries use the US dollar and more countries hold on to those dollars, and this gives US greater buying power. But according to the recent report, US dollar is at risk of losing its reserve currency status. In one of the report, Ray Dalio explains that throughout the history, there has been constantly changing world order between leading economy and rising economy. Now this shift in power happens to about every 100 years or so, and it results in transition that lasts between 10 to 20 years. So what exactly causes this? Well, as Ray Dalio explains, this shift can be summarized into three important categories of the rise, top, and the decline. During the rise, there is a period of peace and prosperity, and people bet and borrow onto the system, and this is typically marked with strong education, critical thinking, character building, and work ethics, which definitely allows for innovation and new technologies and other resources to pop up. To finance this continued rise in productivity, a system must be in place for borrowing and lending, but if the system is not managed properly, the debt can outpace the ability to pay it back, leading to the debt crisis and then subsequent decline. And if the current system of borrowing and lending is not managed properly, you could see the debt crisis which is going on right now in the United States. US dollar value is declining, and it could potentially lead to the losing its reserve currency status. And what it means for the rest of the world, let's check it out. Now, as we all know, US dollar has been the world's reserve currency for many decades, but with the world changing at a rapid pace, the new technology and other resources continually rising the productivity, there is a need for a system in place in order to allow for people around the world to convert their currency into the investment that can share in the success for the growth. Now, all of the successful reserve currencies have followed by the same path, leading eventually to the top. But when people lose faith in the reserve currency and would rather sell than reinvest the profits, then that tipping point will lead to the decline. And when a government is in trouble facing rising inflation, then rich move their asset to the place where the currencies they feel the safest in, allowing other nations to eventually take a spot as the reserve currency. So what are the potential steps that could lead to the US dollar losing its reserve currency status, and what does it mean for the rest of the world? Now, US dollar losing its reserve currency status, let's check out what it means for the entire world and the US dollar. Now, US could potentially defeat on its debt, and how other countries could copy the latest innovations for the fraction of the cost, reducing the leading power's competitiveness. As you may know, the US dollar value has been changing constantly since Roman Empire, and it's often hard to predict what will happen next. But looking at the current situation, we can make an educated guess what might happen in the future. Well, the value of the US dollar is determined by three key metrics: the exchange rate to the other currencies, second, the demand for 10-year treasury note, and third one, foreign currency reserves. Now, when it comes to the exchange rate, other currencies, the value of the US dollar has been gradually weakening since 2020, but it's still higher than it has been for the last 2 decades. Speaking of the demand for 10-year treasury notes, is another factor. The US dollar value will be determined. The interest rates are constantly rising, which is a good tool for the US dollar as it means more people are investing in these bonds. And third important factor is the foreign currency reserves, where the things get slightly less optimistic. The US dollar has been steadily declining as other currencies are being taken its place, and it has been recently dropped to the lowest level since 25 years. On to 29th of the March, it was announced that China China and Brazil struck a deal and trade between their own currencies, ditching the US dollar intermittently. And this could be a major blow to the US dollar in the long run. And that's the reason many people are wondering if US dollar will remain the world's reserve currency or not. Now, in recent months, several countries have begun to trade their own currencies, ditching the US dollar as intermediary as the primary means, and this would be essentially to enable to trade them directly with each other without having to buy the US dollar in the process. Now, currently they transact around $150 billion every single year, and that's no longer going through the United States. And this isn't the first time that something of this kind has happened. China has been slowly shifting away from the US dollar since 2010. Also, Russia and India both ditched the US dollar for about a year ago. Also, Saudi Arabia is recently said that it was open to this idea of trading Chinese yuan. Also, China, Russia, Brazil, and India and South Africa have also joined the forces to transact in their own reserve country, also known as BRICS. Now, BRICS is something you need to worry about because this could be the US heading towards the time where it's no longer holding the reserve currency place, and the future of the US dollar is looking uncertain at this point, but there is currently nothing close to being able to take its place right now. China's economy is supposed to outpace the United States by 2030, and BRICS economics are the some of the fastest growing nations in the world, and the US dollar still makes up the vast majority of global transactions, and its dominance is not going anywhere anytime soon. A lot of things would need to happen if there would be a new reserve currency, otherwise it might not happen. But here's the thing, we can't predict the future. You know what? Future holds the secret what will affect. Recently, Elon Musk also tweeted that US policy has been too heavily handed, making countries want to ditch the dollar. And this is because excess government spending that forces other countries to absorb significant part of the inflation. And this is why Barron's reported that US stimulus following financial crisis started the currency war in the United States dollar, which is being traded less. Now, it's true that other countries now competing against the US dollar, but it's still the number one spot as of right now. Most of the headlines that you see right over here are just trying to get your clicks, but you should really think whether you are diversified or whether you are saving enough money, whether you have consistent income, whether you are investing regularly. These are the things you should take in account. This will make more money than worrying about the US dollar. And this is an important reason to understand what's happening to the US dollar. And this is the reason why you should pay attention to topics like this, BRICS, the debt ceiling, and how it will affect the market onto the both sides and can't come to an agreement. Now, what do you think? Do other countries hold the power to entirely remove the dominance of the US dollar? Do let me know in the comments down below. When it comes to the potential of the US dollar no longer being world's currency reserve, it's very important to remember that this is something that is out of our control, and it's important to remember that what we can control and what is our financial decision and how we can manage our own money. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to stay informed about all the latest news, all the updates. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on all the bell notification. Also hit that like, that really helps us, and share this video. And this is Kedar from How to Guys. See you in the next video.